Oh, Bush Light Peach is so good. Um, Texas this year. What
Yeah.
are your expectations? What are your hopes? I guess where are you at on Texas football?
I will say this. I think we have the team this year. Obviously, some people will push back on the Texas is back, especially since that's said just about every year, as far as I can tell. But my expectations, I think 10-2 Big 12 champs is my expectations. I think that's what we should do. Now somebody's asked me, do you think they'll make the playoff? And I said, if 10-2 and Big 12 champs is enough, then yes. And it might not be. Um, I expect us to be 12-0 in Big 12 champs if we beat Alabama week 2 in Alabama. I think the division's wide open for the taking. I think Oklahoma's going to be better. I think Kansas's quarterback is going to be really good. TCU takes a step back, but they're deep. I think the Big 12 is a fun division. I think the entire conference has real home field advantage. All the stadiums, all the teams. So I'm very excited to watch. But I like 10-2 Big 12 champs. I think that is. I think that's what I'm aiming for, and I'm hoping we do better. I mean, I would like to win every game.
Yeah, do you have a prediction on college football playoff Final Four? Literally, I sprung this on you, so if you don't, if you haven't put a lot
Yeah.
of thought into it,
I do. I'm gonna go with what I said earlier, and it's what I would want one as a fan, and what I think would just be the most fun. Michigan 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Notre Dame 4.
man, that's some powerhouse right there.
That's fun.
That
That's a lot of fun.
yeah, that is a lot of fun. You know what else is a lot of fun talking football.
Yes,
I love
and it's
talking
here.
football.
It's
Yeah,
here.
it is here. We've been doing it for a while. What's kind of disappointing is opportunities when we don't get to talk football. We're just gonna break a little announcement here. It's kind of some bad news. It is what it is. Lives happen, things come up, and unfortunately, sometimes we can't do things we want to do. But uh, Brad and I have kind of come to the conclusion. I kind of broke some bad news that just my schedule was not going to work out, and Brad was like totally cool about it. And we're not going to do the live shows this season. So if you're listening to this and you are a religious Sunday morning live show viewer, we couldn't thank you enough. Another part of the reason that as soon as I told Brad, Brad rebutted with Spotify Live actually closed, so we were going to have to find another platform anyway. It kind of just made our decision even easier. Uh, we hope to maybe someday, maybe even sometime this season, sporadically pop up here and there and talk some shop with you guys on NFL Sunday. But for a week to week, it's not going to be a thing. So
Yeah. The one thing that will be fun though is we still will be able to communicate quite a bit on Sunday mornings. As we still like to do the gambling picks with FanDuel being, it's a full go in Ohio. So we will like to keep our 5 locks, competition going. Me and Jeff are potentially thinking about doing a survival pick'ems on the page. So there will be ways that we can all talk on Sunday. It won't be a live show. It's just not going to happen. But it is one of our favorite things, and we both took a little gut punch when we realized that it's not something we can do this year. And we usually get some full rooms. That's usually a good time. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much more to say about it.
yeah, so kind of bad news. Uh, we hope to have good news coming soon. Um, I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that. But I'm ready to talk AFC North. This is the last division that we've gotten to. We've broken down literally NFC North, South, East, West, and AFC East, West, South. We are down to the North. This is your favorite team's division, one of the absolute best divisions in all of football. And I'm excited to kind of talk about it here.
I am too.
Well, we always start with the worst and move to the first. So we will start here. The Cleveland Browns. They have a record of 7-10 last year. They were 3-3 in division. Okay. And unfortunately, they lost their last game. What do you got for ads and drops?
Some of these ads, again, we've had a lot of things change. So Josh Dobbs is going to be a loss. He was an addition, but Elijah Moore, Marquise Goodwin, looks like we got a few guards, a tight end, couple D tackles, but Zadarius Smith, I think, is the biggest. Zadarius Smith on defense and Elijah Moore on offense will be the guys that we'll probably hear names of that are additions. In the draft, they took wide receiver, nose tackle, offensive tackle, D end. Dorian Thompson Robinson out of UCLA, who has come in and clean house in the quarterback room and has earned the second spot there. And they safety Juan Thornhill, I believe he comes over from the Chiefs. They lose Kareem Hunt and Dearness Johnson in the backfield. They lose Jadeveon Clowney and Chase Winovich, but like we said, Zadarius Smith comes over. Linebacker Deion Johnson and safety John Johnson are all guys that have come over and left. I'll toss it back to you. What do you think about the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, I think that they somehow upgraded in pass rush. As long as Zadarius Smith plays, I do think he's a slight upgrade to what Jadeveon Clowney's been over the last couple of years. Maybe I'm wrong. What opinion on that? Do you think I'm right there?
I do. I do think Zadarius Smith and Jadeveon Clowney, even if you wanted to argue that they're potentially the same player, like at what they're good at, Zadarius Smith's consistency far outweighs Jadeveon Clowney, I believe. I think it's a clear upgrade.
Yeah. The biggest question mark to this team, 1,000%, has to be whether or not you believe Deshaun Watson can somehow find the 2020 season. Deshaun, wasn't it 2020? I've literally lost count.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact year, but I was going to put something in terms of like, unless you're a Browns fan, you have to acknowledge that this is the worst quarterback and worst coach in the division, in my opinion. If you think that's different, I think you believe Deshaun Watson from 3 years ago is going to somehow walk in the door, and he hasn't shown any.
Yeah.
He hasn't shown anything to make you believe that. It's just blind faith. In his best year as a starter, he won 4 games. You can say what you want about his statistics, but and again, we've said that we believe this could be the best division in football. If Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback in this division, which is my opinion, that doesn't mean he can't be, the 16th best quarterback in the entire NFL on a good roster. This is a pretty good team, but keep going. I think it was like 2020. It was like COVID the last year he played.
Yeah, I looked it up, and I had to adjust something you just said. You said the best season he ever had was winning 4 games. He actually went 11-5 and 10-5 in back-to-back years and made the playoffs.
Oh, his last season that he played, like
correct.
To his peak,
yes.
Not his. I'm sorry, that's my fault.
You're good. I just wanted to clear that up. So, in 2020, this was his last season. What you were just talking about, he won 4 games. They were 4-12. He led the league in passing yards, 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 7 picks. He's always actually been pretty good about not turning the ball over. In 2019, he threw a career-high 12 picks. That's by far the most. Every other year has been single digits. Last year, though, in just 6 games, he threw 5 picks and only 7 touchdowns. It looked rough. He had a career-low completion percentage, lower than his rookie year even. So it was very apparent that the guy had not played organized full speed football. Like, it was just so clear. And in nowadays football, like, a lot of guys aren't playing preseason games either. So, like, I still think September might look a little rough for the Browns. But I do think that Deshaun Watson is not going to stay in the Deshaun Watson that we currently know him as. I do believe he will find that 2022-ish range.
Yeah. And that's a huge thing. We try not to be fence sitters and come out one way or the other. And he absolutely could. Maybe I'm being harsh. We haven't seen enough. He missed a year and a half of football, came back for 6 games, and turned the ball over a little more than you'd like. But I mean, full off season, he hasn't been in the media at all, like he was the last year. He's kind of been just in camp the whole off season. He's got a good team. He's got a good O-line. This is probably the best defense he's ever had. So
let's play a quick game. I know you enough. We've potted 200 plus episodes at this point. I'm going to give you a quarterback that I think know where you have them. You tell me better or worse. Kirk Cousins.
Worse.
Daniel Jones.
Better.
Okay. I think I know where you have him then. So, where do you think he'll be after the season? Closer to Daniel Jones? Closer to Kirk Cousins? Above Kirk Cousins? Below Daniel Jones? Where are we talking here?
I think he stays right where he's at. I don't think he's bad enough to be depleted, but I don't think he's good enough to really warrant that, where does Deshaun rank among? And yeah, that's just where I have him.
Which is kind of crazy because this pod started in 2020, and as long as it's been around, we've kind of both had Deshaun Watson top 7. And he
Yes.
is obviously, with more and more allegations and more time away from the field, he has dropped down this list. And
Well,
2022 is rough.
Well, remember our pod when we did our quarterback breakdown of where we think they could be at the end of the year. And I think I had Deshaun at 15 or 16, which was right below Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins. I still think he's one of the top half of starting quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a good quarterback. But obviously, how I feel about Kenny Pickett, how everyone feels about Lamar and Joe Burrow, I just think he's the 4th best quarterback in the division.
Interesting. Okay.
Does
Yeah,
not
I mean
mean
that's where my season predictions lie on the Browns, is where I feel Deshaun Watson is. And I think that's really one of the reasons I have the biggest question mark on the Browns, because I think they actually have a decently high ceiling.
Yeah.
But I also think they have their regular floor. And if I had to bet my house, it would be on their floor, because that's just what they have been, with or without Deshaun Watson, with or without Baker Mayfield. It's just like the best seasons we see from the Browns are 10 wins, and they come once a decade at best. That's all I got. Anything else from you?
Yeah, I just want to say I do think any of these teams that we cover have potential to hit 11, 12, even more wins. They all have really good rosters. Just going quarterback, head coach. I just wonder if they're not 4th in that. But their O-line's strong. When it comes to running backs, I think their depth has completely escaped them unless they somehow re-sign Kareem Hunt. However, if it's just hand the ball off to the running back behind you and let him go, Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry are the 2 best in the league at that. They have Nick Chubb. He's an absolute monster. I think the wide receiver room is getting a little bit overrated with Elijah Moore and Donovan Peoples-Jones. And I think everyone knows I've kind of been like, is Amari Cooper who we really think he is? So I think they're still the same. They're a running team. They will struggle offensively, and if Deshaun turns the ball over like he did the last games, they're in trouble. They have a great pass rush, and Denzel Ward, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I do think they have 4 or 5 really good players on defense. Myles Garrett's obviously a DPOY guy in conversations. I just wanted to highlight that I think this is one of the better defenses the Browns have had in the past 6 years, and they've always had a pretty good defense. So I just know a lot of people locally are Browns fans, so obviously they knew they were going to listen and not like my takes on the Cleveland Browns. That's par for the course.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't predicted a single game, but I have a feeling you're not going to put them at 4 wins. So,
yeah, 3. I mean they're terrible. No, just kidding. Do you have their schedule up? Or I'm going to go through them. I know last week you did.
I did pull it up, but I still want you to kind of lead the way. So go ahead.
Okay. Week 1, we have, really a fantastic slate here for week 1. If you look at a lot of games, there's about 7 really good ones. This is one of them. Ohio versus Ohio here. The Cleveland Browns host the Cincinnati Bengals week 1. In the hierarchy, the Browns the last few years have kind of had the Bengals number. I'm weary about this Joe Burrow calf thing. Browns at home, I like them to win the opener.
The more we pod, the more we sound the same. Yeah, so here's the thing. Bengals struggle against the Browns. I don't know what I'm getting from Deshaun. I don't know what I'm getting from Burrow. I'll take the home team here with a pass rush against a shaky offensive line early in the season. Give me the Browns. I agree.
We'll be talking Bengals later, but I have a feeling people aren't going to like what I have to say there either. Monday night, week 2, they are at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 8:15.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns aren't going to win every single divisional game. This is a road game. They're going to feel pretty good after week 1, but they're going to drop to Pittsburgh week 2.
I like that. I agree, by the way. Then they come short week, but it's Sunday. They host the Tennessee Titans. I talked about Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry. This will be a fun compare and contrast on two of the pure runners in the league. I love Mike Vrabel. I think the Titans are going to be better than we give them credit for, especially defensively. But I think the roster's just too powerful here. Cleveland goes 2-0 at home.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree. I don't know what we're getting out of Tennessee. Browns are at home. I don't 100% love the Titans' offensive line against this defensive line, but I just got done telling you I thought Deshaun would be shaky in September, and the Titans are physical. Titans in an upset. Give me the Titans here.
Tell you what, I don't think there's a single Browns game I wouldn't like to watch this year, though. They're a fun team to watch. They come out week 4, another home game, and it's against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, all I can tell you is I have the schedule in front of me as well. The Browns' second half of the year, they better win some of these first couple games because the second half is going to be a lot of road games. The Baltimore Ravens, I think, have the highest ceiling in this entire division. I do like them. Lamar's still going to be healthy at this point, I would imagine. Yeah, I like the Ravens here.
I do too. So the Browns have a real early bye here, week 5. They're 2-2 for me going into the bye. I think they're 1-3 for you going into the bye.
They're 1-3. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Their next 8 games after the bye, 5 of them are on the road. So
Yep.
here we go. Come out of the bye week and they play the San Francisco 49ers in Cleveland.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the Niners, I think I gave them the highest win total of any team this year. I do think they beat the Browns. I'm going to give the Browns a loss. I'm sorry for the Browns fans that are listening. 1-4 right now.
Give them a loss too. They're then at the Indianapolis Colts.
Way better than the Colts. Colts are a very bad team. The Browns, even in a dome on their field, they're better.
This will be another fun running back matchup, Jonathan Taylor versus Nick Chubb.
Weirdly enough, Jonathan Taylor will just be getting back. So
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Then they go back-to-back road spot. They travel out to the Seattle Seahawks. That's actually a really fun game.
It is, but I really like Seattle. I wish I had a redo on them. I'm giving Seattle the win, a loss for the Browns here.
I'm going to take the Browns here.
The Browns going to CenturyLink and upsetting the Seahawks. I
think so.
Okay.
I think they're going to need to start stacking wins because you can fall behind in this division quick. Then they are home against the Arizona Cardinals week 9.
Yeah, we can move on. They're getting a dub here.
They then are at the Baltimore Ravens.
So here's the thing about this division that I think needs to be noted. Everybody went 3-3.
It's a fun division.
It's a very fun, competitive division. But I do think the Browns get swept by the Ravens. That's a loss.
I agree. Sunday, November 19th, after at Ravens, they then play the Steelers.
I like them to beat the Steelers at home at a 1:00 game.
Nah. Loss. They are then at the Denver Broncos.
These next two I have no answer for. Let's just skip ahead. So they're at Denver, they're at the Rams, 1-1.
I could live with that. I'm going to go with the same thing. They then come home and play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, we're going to have a little bit of a reduced spot in the big finale preseason pod we're going to have next week. It's going to be an absolute banger. I'm pulling back on the Jacksonville Jaguars a little bit simply because the more I think about it, I think this defense is really bad on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fantasy-wise, they're going to be fun. I still think they can win the division. But I like the Browns to come home and beat Jacksonville.
No, I'll take Jacksonville here.
Okay. They then host the Bears.
Yeah, this is it's a weird matchup because I think I gave the Bears the win, and I think I'm going to stick with it. But I don't love it.
I'm going to go Cleveland wins. Final 3 games, what's your record currently?
I have them at 5-9.
Okay, I have them at 8-6. They're then at the Houston Texans.
They're beating Houston.
I think that's a win as well. Thursday night football. I think this is the last Thursday night game of the year. Browns host the Jets. I like the Jets.
I like the Jets as well.
And then at Cincinnati, where I like the Bengals.
I also like the Bengals.
So what is your final record prediction on the Cleveland Browns?
I have them 6-11, 2-4 in division.
Okay, I don't keep track of my division records.
This is the first time I wanted to do that for this division specifically.
I believe I have them at 1-5 because they beat the Bengals week 1, and then I have them losing the rest of their divisional games. So I'll keep track of that too. What is your you said what in division?
I had them 2-4 in division, but 6-11 overall.
Yep.
I'm gonna guess they're over under.
I want to give you one quick thing on the over-unders for this division.
Go ahead.
No team has the same over-under. All 4 are different.
Let me say this, because I don't know. I'm going to let you just tell me. 6 is between it. It's either 5.5 or 6.5, I'm thinking.
It's 9.5.
I'm sorry?
9.5 for the Browns is the over-under.
You say 9?
If you take 8 and add 1 to it, plus a 0.5, 9.5 is their over-under win total. I have them at 9-8. I mean, you're taking the under.
I massively disagree.
I'm
not gonna lie. That is shocking because you're telling me nobody has the same over-unders. I think there's potentially 3 better teams, and they have 9.5 wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you're in the under, clearly.
Here's the thing: they could win 8, and I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think they're winning 10. I think this is a lock at an under.
Hey, alt win totals. You take the Browns under 6.5. It's plus 360. I mean,
there we go.
You can go under 8.5 and get it at plus 135. I mean, again, it kind of sounded like I was shitting on the Browns more, and then we did the record prediction. Now it seems like Jeff is shitting on the Browns more.
But, I didn't shit on them.
6-11 is pretty tough.
They were 7-10 last year. I don't think they drastically improved.
Yeah, that's true.
The other 3 teams, I think, are either better, stayed the same, or got better.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's on the table. They have the worst coach in the division. I think it's on the table that they have the 3rd or 4th worst quarterback in the division.
I'm sorry, I stepped on you. Keep going.
You're good. I think it's on the table that they're just the Browns, and that is what it is. They're 6-11.
I just wanted to say, when Jacoby Brissett, after week 1, these are his numbers in terms of when he led the team in passing. 147, 229, 220, 234, 230, 266, 258, 278, 324, 212, 210. When Watson took over, 131, 276, 161, 135, 169, and then a 230. 4 of his 6 games, he couldn't even hit 200 yards passing. And Brissett was living around 240. So, like, they clearly took a step back when they went to Deshaun Watson in terms of the passing game. Also, Watson led their team in passing 6 games. Nick Chubb got over 100 yards rushing once in those games. It's not like they just went run heavy and Watson wasn't passing. Chubb didn't even hit 100 yards in any of those games. And with Brissett, in the first 8 weeks, he did it 5 times. I think Kevin Stefanski wanted to run a well-balanced team. They overpaid for Deshaun Watson. He has to use him, and he's just not the same. That's just how I feel about the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I agree.
I still have them over 500, though. I do think their roster's good.
Okay.
You might want to think about putting a 20 spot or something on that under, though. 9.5.
Yeah, I think it's more likely they're a 3-win team than a 10.
Let me see just what the odds are real quick before we move on. Their under is minus 134. Their over's plus 108. So it is favored for them to be under, but alt that to 8.5 and take the under.
Yeah, that is just. You're sure you're reading that correctly?
I'm 100% correct. But what I was saying though, if you alt them to 8.5.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to look because I don't want to see the other 3 teams.
Yeah, if you alt them to under 8.5 wins, which you're saying they just won't go over 500, that bet is plus 135. I think you'd feel really good about putting like a 20 spot on that to try and get some money.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Steelers, you ready?
Shit, are you guys ready?
I'm as ready as can be. So we got the Steelers 9-8 last year, another season under Mike Tomlin where they were not with a losing record. 3-3 in division, just like everybody else. But here's the big one here. They won their last 4. That's important. I'll let you take away the ads, drops, all that other fun stuff.
All right, let me get to them here.
And at the time of recording this, they went 3-0 in the preseason.
Yeah, we can talk about Tomlin being, winning record for 16 years, but the last time the Steelers had a losing record, Brady was 26, Jerry Rice was still in the league, the Texans were 2 years old, and it was the second season with 8 divisions in the NFL. The last time the Steelers had a top 5 pick was 53 years ago when we drafted Terry Bradshaw.
Isn't that wild? I heard that.
We're the best franchise. I mean, what are we? It's not wild.
Second best.
All right, so additions. Isaac Samalu, guard from the Eagles. Nate Herbig, also another guard. Veteran receiver Allen Robinson. Outside linebacker Marcus Golden. Middle linebacker Luke Holcomb. Middle linebacker Landon Roberts. Middle linebacker Quan Alexander. And safety Keanu Neal. 5 draft picks that will play this year: tackle Broderick Jones, corner Joey Porter Jr., D-tackle Keanu Benton, tight end Darnell Washington, and outside linebacker of younger brother of Nate Herbig, Nick Herbig. Our departures, we lose Chris Wormley, if you want to count him, but we lose all 3 middle linebackers, which we've replaced and upgraded all 3. Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, Miles Jack. We lose Cameron Sutton, Will Jackson, and Witherspoon, 3 corners, and safety Terrell Edmonds. I'll hand it back to you for some of your early thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Patrick Peterson. We added Patrick Peterson as well. That wasn't on there. Sorry.
I was going to say they have lost some secondary, but they did add Patrick Peterson. I was going to say that. You didn't say his name. Yeah, I thought they had a strong draft. That's one. Okay, I'll say that. I don't know that I'm 100% sold that I know what Kenny Pickett is. I'm not saying he's bad or good. I just don't know what he is. I don't think we got a ton of him because it seemed like he was coming in, getting hurt, coming in, getting hurt, coming in, winning. The one thing I will say about him is we never seen him look bad. Kind of like Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. It's like, well, I don't think he's bad. That's where I'm at on Kenny Pickett right now. I thought they had a solid draft last year as well, both Kenny Pickett and George Pickens. They kind of turned into the Seahawks, back-to-back really good drafts where dudes are contributing. I think that this division is very tough. That's really what it comes down to. I don't know what their running game is. I think that's their biggest question mark for me. Can they run the football? I don't think they were great at it last year. I don't know the stat in front of me, but I know they weren't top 10. And the way the NFL is moving, I'll give you a little stat here. Okay. Told you I would give you this on the pod. If I told you there was a stat where the top 8 teams in this stat all made the playoffs, would you think it's a pretty good stat?
I would think it's a pretty good stat.
Explosive plays. Plays of 15 yards or more are explosive plays. Okay. I just seen this stat today. It is literally bonkers. If you do not have an explosive play on a drive, you only have a 2% chance of scoring a touchdown. It's unfathomable that you'll have a scoring drive without an explosive play. It's almost impossible to do, right? The Steelers last year were towards the bottom of the league, like 27th or something like that.
Not shocking.
This year in the preseason, they're number 2. So Warren Sharp, who predicts explosive, he was the one sharing the stats and does the data analysis on this. He predicts that the Steelers could have a massive jump in this statistic and potentially see themselves in that top 8. Obviously, he's probably banking on the fact that George Pickens and Kenny Pickett have some sort of a connection there. Allen Robinson adds something. Who knows what that is, but it's something. Go ahead.
I didn't list it as an ad, but last year we drafted Calvin Austin the third, and he had a calf injury and never played. We drafted him in 3rd round, and he ran the 4th fastest 40 time. He came in this year, and in the preseason, he had a 69-yard touchdown catch as well as some punt returns. So he's technically our 4th receiver, but he's the kind of guy that he's 5'10", he's really fast, but he's another guy added to the equation there. I didn't list him as an ad, but he didn't play a single snap last year.
Yeah, so I guess my only issue is, where is the Steelers' run? I mean, are they going to be able to run the ball? They do play out in a cold weather. Because I just don't think we've seen that in the last couple of years. I'm actually, just for funsies, looking it up, so you can go take away your analysis on them.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of be jumping all over the place here. It's funny you brought up you brought up a head coach, Nick Sirianni, and he had a quarterback that took a tremendous leap from year 1 to year 2. Kenny Pickett's that guy. I'm not saying he's going to do what Jalen Hurts did exactly, but Kenny Pickett, his 3rd year at Pitt, his 4th year at Pitt, his rookie year, and into the 2nd year, I have not seen him not getting better. He's continuously getting better. Matt Canada was very restrictive on play calling last year as he had a rookie, other quarterbacks. They've clearly opened it up from what you've seen in the preseason. Will it work to the extent it did in the preseason? I don't know, but we're definitely taking chances. I don't think this team has any holes. I do think you talk about the running game question marks. I think the last 2 years of Big Ben was all short throws. He was kind of running his own offense. There was no fear of a passing game. Well, now with this receiving core of Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, Calvin Austin, a top 10 tight end, I believe, and Pat Freiermuth, there is a threat of a pass, especially at the 2nd and 3rd levels now, and Kenny Pickett's ability to run. So I believe that opens it up. We found a fantastic 1-2 punch with Jaylen Warren. I know he's got a lot of coverage in this preseason. The offensive line the last 2 years, Broderick Jones, Dan Moore, Isaac Samalu, Mason Cole, James Daniels, all additions in the last 2 years, all big players. Chukwuma Okorafor, I believe, finished the year at right tackle as the 6th best right tackle in pass protection in Pro Football Focus. He was really a highlight there at the right tackle. We can keep talking about this offense. We can talk about how with Mitch Trubisky losing TJ Watt for many games, I believe 7 or 8, Mike Tomlin still got this team to 9-8. I do believe they're going to be improved. We talk about the offense improvement, what Warren Sharp said, what I think, what the preseason showed, maybe even what you tend to believe or not. But there's another side of the ball to this team, the defense. Larry Ogunjobi, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Levi Wallace, Joey Porter, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Highsmith had 14.5 sacks last year. TJ Watt is the defensive player of the year from 2 years ago. Cole Holcomb, who we bring over at middle linebacker, He only played 7 games last year due to injury. The year before that, he played 16 games, 142 tackles. Elandon Roberts, former Patriot and Dolphin, last year 17 games, 107 tackles. You don't need advanced analysis when TJ Watt plays. The team wins. We were 7-2 when he played last year, and a lot of those were with Kenny at the helm. And Kenny led a lot of late drives to win games. That's a huge thing that we have been missing over the last few years. Let's talk about Patrick Peterson. Last year, 17 games. He had 66 tackles. That's the most in any year of his career. He had 5 interceptions, second most of any year in his career, and 15 pass breakups, second most of any year in his career. Minkah Fitzpatrick's the best safety in the league. TJ Watt's the best edge rusher, and Cameron Hayward's a top 3 D tackle. This team is loaded at all 3 levels. We'll have a top 5 defense. If this offense is good, forgive me if they're great. This team has so much potential, and I love everything about this team. I'm so excited for them. I mean, this team won 9 games last year, and were second to last in touchdowns scored, with only 12 passing and 16 rushing touchdowns. There is no way we're scoring under 30 touchdowns with this team. Also, a little nugget on the kicker. Chris Boswell is 11th all-time in NFL history in field goal percentage at 86%. So we have a good kicker. We have a true home field advantage. We have a great team. And if you believe Kenny Pickett can jump into the top 14 quarterbacks of the league, the top half, sky's the limit for this team, because this team has been craving good quarterback play for the past 3 to 4 years. That includes Big Ben's end. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, so I looked up the stats here just to have them. They were 16th in total rushing yards, but here's the problem. They were 10th in the league in attempts, and they were the 8th worst in yards per carry. They weren't able to run the ball effectively, but they tried to do it a ton. It just goes to show, like, have they improved that? Broderick Jones from Georgia at the tackle spot obviously probably helps that, I would imagine. What's Najee got? Because he was a highly touted first-round running back, and he just 3.8 yards per carry isn't going to get it done in this league. So we need to see that jump to a 4.4 to 4.7, somewhere in that range, and I think you'll see more production out of your team, and I think you'll score more. I think part of the problem was just the running game. Obviously, a rookie quarterback, you kind of become a little one-dimensional because you don't want to just have your rookie slinging it 40 times. Could that be an outlier season? We'll see. I think the Steelers are very good. This division's very good. So it's just like there's going to be times where I'm giving them losses and you might, raise eyebrows. The NFL is so good. It's hard to find wins for everybody. And I've become a victim of this. Every single week, when we break down a team, I get more and more eager to give that team what we're talking about a win. So I'm trying to stay level-headed here.
Yeah, I also I exploded on the Eagles last year. That was my pick. And, I had them at 15-2. I think they were 14-3. And we talk about this all the time. Your schedule matters, like the difficulty of it. I expected them to explode, and that's why I had them there. The Steelers, I expect that same explosion, but with a more difficult schedule. But I do think this team is tremendously much better. And I just say, we talk about this all the time. There's about 3 to 4 teams that have elite O-lines. You're looking to be one of those teams, especially between 5 and 13. I think the Steelers have all the players here. The addition of Isaac Samalu is huge from the Eagles. I look for this team to have a 7 to 10th ranked offensive line, right inside the top 10. I love the tight end position, the weapons. If our running game improves and Kenny improves, so the whole offense as a whole, if it takes a step forward, I think we have the best defense in the league, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and go all in, and maybe some people will spit at how homerish I'm going to be, but the Steelers are my pick to take that leap. I always feel a little bit dirty when it's my team or my player that I'm picking to have that leap, but I believe all the signs are there. I'm really mad that they did so well in preseason, because now a lot of people are kind of buying into this Steelers hype and this set. I mean, I think we have a guy who can really be a number 1 wide receiver in this league. If Deontay's your 2, if Allen Robinson's your 3, Pat Freiermuth is your starting tight end. Gosh, dude, it's sheesh.
I'm ready to get to the schedule if you are, man.
All right. Week 1, they open up at Acrisure down at the shore. 49ers come to town.
And beat them.
Nope.
Right from the get.
No
giving
shot.
you that. Giving you an L.
No shot. Well, there is definitely a shot. It's a great team. This one's a tone setter. This will, big week 1 matchup. I have a win, you have a loss. It'll be fun how many times that happens. Week 2, they host the Cleveland Browns on Monday night.
I just gave them a win. I'm sticking with it.
Dub. Then the next week, week 3, they're at the Las Vegas Raiders, 8:20.
It'll be interesting to see how Jimmy Garoppolo looks over these first 2 weeks and how Devontae Adams and him connect. Steelers are still better, giving the Steelers the win.
Also, just a little shout out as a sidebar here. When we do our big finale preseason, just a little nugget here. One of the things I will be doing is giving an efficiency bet and then a long shot bet. I'm going to do it for all 32 teams. I'm going to leak my Steelers one here soon coming up, but they are going to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Week 4, they're at the Houston Texans.
Dub.
W.
3. Got them winning 3 in a row here.
Week 5, they're back home. Baltimore Ravens. Mind you, Lamar Jackson's 2-3 all time versus Steelers. It's the little nugget.
Why you guys steal my thunder here?
Oh shit! Did you have that? My bad.
I think the Ravens are better than the Steelers. I'm gonna make that very clear right now. But there's one thing the Steelers have done historically great, and that is defend Lamar Jackson. They're at home on a 3-game winning streak. I got to move into 4-1.
They got an early bye, which I don't necessarily love that, but I'll be 5-0 going into my bye anytime. The only game that puts a damper on this year could be the 49ers. I think the other 4 are W's. Come out of their bye week, travel to Los Angeles to have another road home game. By the way, I didn't mention that, but at Las Vegas, I think that's potentially a Steelers atmosphere. And at the Rams, I think could be a Steelers atmosphere. So, but even so, the Rams, I think, could be the 32nd best team in the NFL. I'm taking the Steelers off the bye.
Rams have a horrible offensive line. I
Matt
honestly
Stafford,
don't know.
this might be his last game of the year.
I honestly don't know what to make of the Rams. We did them way too early. Give me the Steelers 5-1. That's weird.
So,
I did not envision this. I did not envision this.
Let me have the floor here for a minute, and then
Take
I'm
it
going to
away.
toss it back to you.
Because then I'm going to have to bring it down to reality.
Right. So the next 3 games are all home games. Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. They have the Jaguars, Titans, Packers. What I'm going to do, my preseason long shot bet that I want to hand out, is Steelers to be the last undefeated team as they win all 3 of these games at home. They're 9-0. Floor's yours.
So I'm not going to sit here and call you crazy because I see a lot of wins on this schedule now.
49ers could nip it in the butt week 1.
Literally, it could be destroyed in the first quarter of week 1.
Yeah.
It's totally on the table.
In the first 10, there's only 2 division games as well. We talk about how 50-50 the division is. They only have 2. 2 of their road games are Las Vegas and Los Angeles, which are almost home games. It's almost like they have one true road atmosphere, and that's the Texans week 4. So I just want to say when you talk about scheduling breaks and things of that nature, again, the Steelers, I think, hey, talk to me. We'll go one by one for you. Home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How do you feel about it?
The Jacksonville Jaguars, home against the Titans, home against Green Bay. They're going 2-1.
Okay.
Hate to do that, but I'm doing it here. They're going 2-1. Take it however you want it. They'll lose one of those. They're not going perfect 3-0 there.
Now
NFL's tough.
Now what I'm going to do here is let me have the floor again.
Real quick before you get into that. Not just that the fact that like the NFL's tough. All 3 of these teams have good veteran head coaches. I love wow, his name is literally drawing a blank to me. Jacksonville's coach. Thank you, Doug Peterson. I want to say Doug Monroe.
Cut his own
Doug
son,
Peterson.
dude. He's not going into the season with a clear mind.
Mike Vrabel and Matt LaFleur. There's enough there. You're losing one of those.
Okay. With that being said, I have them 9-0. Where are you at through their 10 weeks?
I have them at 7-2.
Okay. Real quick, their next 2 Sunday games are back-to-back road spots. Browns, Bengals.
Mm-hmm. Back-to-back losses.
I'm gonna have them lose them both. So I did say last remaining undefeated team. That's because, I think they can make it to week 10 and not have a loss. I think that's pretty cool. They then come out of back-to-back losses in a massive get-right spot at home December 3rd against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, we agree.
And then we have the podcast matchup Thursday night home against the New England Patriots. You sticking with the New England win?
You already know.
Pats are winning this game. Sticking with that Pittsburgh win. They then have a long week to prepare for the really good Indianapolis Colts December 17th.
They're gonna win that, yeah.
They then Saturday, December 23rd, host the Cincinnati Bengals. They're gonna split with the Bengals.
They're gonna lose to the Bengals here. They're gonna get swept by the Bengals.
Wow, okay. Then they're at the Seattle Seahawks.
They're gonna lose to Seattle as well.
They're gonna beat Seattle. But they're gonna lose to the Ravens week 17 at Ravens.
And they're going to lose to the Ravens as well there in that game. The Ravens need that game to get in the playoffs. Steelers are 10-7, and you should feel incredible.
So I did want to say something as my very homerish mind just dropped a 14-3 there. That's really fun. What did you have them at? 10-7?
I got them at 10-7.
In a much, I tried to be as realistic as I could without getting hyped. So I wrote this down. I just want to play this to you. You think the Steelers could go 3-3 in division?
I have them at 2-4, but 1,000%.
Okay, right. So this is actually going to work out really good with your prediction, but just following this method for the Steelers, guys, if you stayed with me through 14-3, we'll come back down here. Let's say they go 3-3 in division.
Yeah.
Do you believe against the AFC South and NFC West in those 8 games they could go 5-3?
Between the AFC South and the what?
In the NFC West. So 49ers, Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, Titans, Texans, Colts, Jags. Do you think they could go 5-3?
At worst, 4-4.
But 5-3?
It's possible, yeah.
Okay. And then the 3 random games of the same seed, Raiders, Packers, Patriots. Could they go 2-1?
Yeah, they could.
Okay, so if you follow that method, 3-3 in division, 5-3 versus their 2 division matchups, and 2-1 against the same seeded 3 randoms, that's 10-7. So I think that's a completely...
Which is what I have.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, if you break it down in that method, can the Steelers split across the division? That's what happened last year to every team. Let's just take that. In the AFC South and NFC West, which outside of there's 49ers, Seahawks, Jaguars. Most people think the other 5 teams are trash. So let's say 5-3. Raiders, Packers, Patriots. Most people are low on all 3 of those teams. I'm higher on the Packers. We both like the Patriots more than most. Raiders could have their moments. But if you follow that chart, that's 10-7 for the Steelers. So I think at a minimum, this team is a double-digit win team. I had them at 14-3. I think that is their ceiling. I think at best case scenario, 14-3. I think this team, if I had to bet an exacto win-loss, I'm going to put them at 12-5. But I think 14-3, I wanted to do that as their ceiling. But already right now, I'm going to go back and detract it to 12-5 is what I'm going to have them at definitively. Just wanted to have a little fun there.
I'm curious what Vegas has them at because I do think they're slightly better than the Browns. Is it 10-5 or 10.5?
So I will do something fun for you. The Steelers have the lowest in the division at 8.5.
Interesting. Especially considering that Mike Tomlin has never shown you that 8.5 would pass. That would not be a winning bet.
Also, in terms of teams with the most momentum through the preseason. Not that matters a ton. But the Steelers were 8.5 before the preseason and 8.5 after the preseason. When, if I pull this up real quick, so they're 8.5, and it never changed after the preseason, in which Kenny Pickett, when he played in the preseason, had a 158.3 quarterback rating, 13 of 15, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and scored on all 5 drives with 13.2 yards per attempt.
You
Now,
say
again,
158.3?
It's a perfect QBR.
I was about to say, you know what the QBR rating, right?
Yeah, he had a perfect QBRs, 13 of 15, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 86% completion percentage, 13 yards per attempt, 5 drives, 5 tuds. Now, he played the backups for the Falcons, and he played the backups for the first team we played. I forget. But, however, 2 drives, I think it was 3 plays, 2 touchdowns against the Bills' #1 defense. So take that for whatever it's worth. But as a team getting all that hype and all that momentum through the preseason, I thought for sure that their win total might bump up 1 to 9.5. I wasn't getting crazy, but it's at 8.5.
It's not crazy. I'm right there with them.
Yeah, 10-7, 12-5 is our predictions at the end.
Ravens, you ready?
Yes.
Ravens went 10-7 last year, even though they were out without Lamar Jackson a healthy part of the season. I don't remember exactly how many games he missed, but I think it was at least 5. 3-3 in division. Unfortunately, they lost their last 2 regular season games, and they dropped the playoff game to the Cincinnati Bengals division rival. Take it away.
Yeah, so their ads, backup quarterback, big one's OBJ. They also had Nelson Aguilar, Laquan Treadwell, corner Rocky Sin. In the draft, they got Zay Flowers, a highly touted wide receiver, linebacker Trenton Simpson, another D end, and another corner. Departures: Kenyon Drake, Demarcus Robinson, Josh Oliver, Jawan James tackle, Ben Powers guard. Big losses there, I feel. Defensive end Justin Houston. Defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul. Didn't even know they had him. Defensive tackle Calais Campbell, and corner Marcus Peters. 2 staples of their defense in Marcus Peters and Calais Campbell. What are your thoughts on the Ravens here to start?
I just think that they have done something that could either put them in another echelon or something that could completely humiliate them. And I don't think there's any in between.
I totally agree.
It could literally put them in a point where we just haven't seen this type of offense before, where a team is so dominant running the ball, but also like can sling it around. They went out and got the pieces. Obviously, Odell Beckham, drafting Zay Flowers. They already had Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews has always been a dog. The running game's been there when it needs to be, no matter who's carrying the ball. You'd expect JK to make some sort of contribution this year. Yeah, I think this team's a lot of fun. I think they have so much upside. They also could have literally depantsed themselves in front of the entire league by showing that their quarterback potentially can't do what they think he can do. Do I think that's the case? I don't. I used to be that guy. You remember that.
Yeah.
I used to be, Lamar can't pass. Lamar can't come from behind. I've come around. I still don't think he's a quarterback that's going to get you back from 3 touchdowns down like Mahomes can, or Brady could, or I think Burrow can. But I do think that, like, down a score needing to pass, you're not wanting Lamar on the other side of the field. I think he's top tier quarterback in this league. So, really like the Ravens. As far as the defensive side of the ball, I think there's enough staples there, and there's enough grit in leadership and what the identity of this team has been for our entire lives, that this team will find a way to be pretty decent offensively. Roquan Smith, obviously, in a full season there. Yeah, I like the Ravens a lot.
Yeah, I think like they've committed to giving Lamar the best offensive weapons that he's had.
Ever.
But they did it by, I think this is the first time in a decade where we can't just lock the Ravens defense in as a top 10 defense.
It'll be good. I'm not saying it's top 10. It'll be
right,
good.
No, but that's just what I'm saying. Like the Ravens, a lot of times it's like Lamar might have a couple drives where, misses a pass here, misses a pass there, but the defense gets him back on the field. Marcus Peters was a playmaker. Calais Campbell was a run stuffer. Now, they do have two really good middle linebackers in Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. So it's not like, oh, this defense is dog. We're on the same page here.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, they're running backs. We'll see if they can stay healthy, but they do have three guys that they all like. So they do have a stable of running backs who all kind of missed a bunch of time last year. OBJ is going to move Rashad Bateman to the 2. Zay Flowers is a nice piece. Anytime I feel like you're weak at right tackle, though, in this division with Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, TJ Watt, Tim Hendrickson, especially with the Ravens, that's scary. That's really, really intimidating. That right tackle is going to have a problem all year. So, gosh, I can't say that I love the Ravens, but from an offensive standpoint in fantasy, I love this offense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The pass defense was the issue last year. Tua absolutely scorched them. Burrow scorched them. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th worst pass defense, total yards. So not great. As far as yards per pass given up, I mean, they were one of the worst teams as well. They didn't give up a ton of passing touchdowns on them, though. They were actually towards the bottom half of the league in that category, only 20 passing touchdowns given up. So they were actually pretty solid once you got closer. So I think ultimately you would think that this team will be right around where they need to be. I think they'll just be middle of the pack, and that's really, honestly, if the offense is as good as it is, that's where they need to be. So,
we don't block this program into segments 100%. So I know we jump all over the place, but I gave that nugget for the Steelers that when I said their 3 random seeded opponents were Raiders, Packers, Patriots.
Yeah.
Those are teams that a lot of people don't love. And when we talk about scheduling breaks, I'm not saying those teams are cakewalks, but we got Packers, Patriots, Raiders. The Browns drew the Broncos, Bears, and Jets. All 3 teams we think massively improved this offseason. Sean Payton, the team around Justin Fields, and the Jets. The Ravens got Chargers, Lions, Dolphins. And the Bengals, who are on this last page, got Bills, Chiefs, Vikings. Steelers got definitely the best break on those 3 seeded teams.
You were third place, yeah, of course.
Right, but still, the 4th place was the Browns, and Broncos, Bears, Jets is arguably it was just how
the Jets added the quarterback. The Bears had the number 1 pick and traded it to get some pieces.
DJ Moore, the linebacker.
Things fell into place. The Steelers definitely got a break there. I agree.
Right, and I just wanted to point that out in terms of when I go all in on a team like I did the Eagles, I tried to give as many nuggets as possible to back it up. I don't just want to sit here and be like, you see how I wear this? They're going to win 15. You know what I mean? I just try to back it up. Anyway.
Let me give you another nugget while we're here. One of the reasons that you had brought up that you guys were one of the bottom teams in scoring last year, but you still won 9 games. You led the league in takeaways. That's a huge stat. And I think you'll continue to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the reasons I'm so high in New England is our defense has always been great and they take the ball away. We were 3rd in takeaways. So it's just these are teams that notoriously take the ball away. And obviously I can justify some of those wins by saying that. That's why I can justify 10 wins for you guys. I do think your offense has improved. Just like I've been pretty vigilant in what I've been saying. If I think your offense has improved, your defense is solid, your wins are going to reflect that. Yeah. Unfortunately, the Browns, Deshaun's the biggest question mark. So, unfortunately, their wins reflected that. The Ravens, while they have a tough schedule, I think they're still going to win a shit ton of games.
Yeah, just a little peek into the end. The Ravens in the division may have the most difficult finish to a season out of the AFC North. I haven't looked at the Bengals or anything yet. But you ready to hit this schedule?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. I haven't done it yet. Sorry.
You want to have it up with me, or you want me to just read it to you? It's up to you.
You can start. I'm going to have it in 2 seconds.
All right, week 1. They scheduled a cupcake before conference play, and they are home against the Houston Texans.
Fat L. Houston's
This
going to give it to him. Just pound it. No, I'm just joking. Ravens by a
this
million.
this could be a close game, sure, but this is probably going to open with the biggest line week 1. I haven't seen all the games, but Ravens hosting the Texans probably going to be the biggest line.
Yeah.
They come right out of it at the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, remember, if this helps, the Bengals' first game is at the Browns. Their second game is against the Ravens.
So the Ravens struggle against the Steelers. The Bengals struggle against the Browns, but the Bengals own the Ravens. They own them. Give it to me. Give me the Bengals here. Give me the Bengals.
Ravens. Then they're home against the Colts.
Spoiler, they're sweeping the entire AFC West or AFC South.
Now, I'd like to say in their first 5 games, they have 2 home games, and it's Texans-Colts. But in their first 5 games, they have 3 road games, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. They're going to lose their next 2 to the Steelers and the Browns. Or Browns, then Steelers. I think they lose.
No, they're beating the Browns, but they're losing the Steelers.
So what's your record currently?
3-2.
Same. They then have a home game, but it's in London against the Tennessee Titans.
That's a W.
Remember, this is they're probably going to bring it up in the morning if you get up early for your countdown. Remember, there is bad blood. I know they lost Marcus Peters, but remember the dancing on the logo and Mike Vrabel and the whole. These two teams
They don't like you too. They don't like each other.
This is smash mouth football. The Ravens are just too good, I think, for the Titans. No. In London, I'm taking Vrabel. I'm taking Vrabel and Henry. Wow, upset. I didn't expect that. Here we go. They're back home. They played the Detroit Lions.
They're smashing the Lions.
They're not smashing them, but they're winning.
Oh, they're smashing them.
They're winning. Then they're at the Arizona Cardinals. Dub.
Then
they're home against the Seahawks.
West to East is very tough. It's very tough. Ravens.
Oh, I accidentally marked that on the wrong side. I agree with the Ravens. They then host the Browns. I like them to win there.
I had them sweeping the Browns. Staying with that.
Then Thursday night football. Ravens host the Bengals. Again, this is a tough spot for the Ravens because big physical match against the Browns and then that short week against the Bengals.
Yeah,
and I'm going to look real quick. The Bengals week 10 before this game are at home against the Texans.
Yeah, Bengals feel like a sweep here, giving the Bengals a sweep over the Ravens. But actually, I had them sweep. Wait, I haven't done the Bengals yet. So, yeah, that's a sweep.
Yeah, I had the Bengals losing to them in the first game. So, I have them splitting.
We haven't done the Bengals yet.
Bengals were week 2. Ravens.
Sorry. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so I have them splitting with both the Browns and Bengals. Cool, that's good. And then they're at the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this is 42-38.
Loss.
I agree, though. They then have their bye week. They come out of the bye week and they host the other Los Angeles team, the Rams.
Win.
I agree. They're then at Jacksonville. Sunday night. That'll be fun.
Yeah, this is a win. I had them sweeping the South.
Again, I think this is another, shootout. Give me Jacksonville. They then are back-to-back road spot Monday night on Christmas. Ravens, 49ers, the Harbaugh Bowl.
The former Harbaugh Bowl.
Yeah.
The Niners are too physical. I'm taking the Niners here.
I like the Niners as well. They then finish with 2 back-to-back home games against the Dolphins and the Steelers. They got bad blood against the Dolphins.
They're going 1-1. They're going 1-1.
I think they win them both. What'd you have there at the end for them?
I have them 11-6, 3-3 in division.
I forgot to keep track of the division score for
You're
the
good.
Steelers and Ravens. Oh well. I have them at 10-7. You have them at 11-6. So this is the team we're the most similar on here.
Yeah.
What do you think their over under is? I have them at 10 wins. You have them at 11. Jeff, I have them at 10. You have them at 11.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have them at 11. I have them at 10.
10.5.
It's 10.5. We are right on the Ravens. We are bookmakers on the Ravens.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be really good.
So you have 10-7, 11-6, 6-11. I have 12-5, 10-7, 9-8.
As of now, nobody has moved in the division. Nobody has moved up or down. That could change. The Bengals are still to come.
Bengals are still to go.
Are we ready for the Bengals? We're an hour in.
Yeah.
You know how many people have told me that we should timestamp these, and I always think to do it, and I always forget. Shout out Colin Miller, who just told me today to timestamp this. Because obviously, if somebody just wants to listen to the Bengals, they've now listened for an hour, and they're like, "Just get me to the Bengals." Obviously, you can kind of fast forward and kind of hear what we're talking about, but anyways, we want you to hear all our opinions, not just the damn Bengals. Who they not gonna beat? Bengals 12-4 on the year last year. Yes, they're missing a game. They were up on the Bills when the DeMar Hamlin situation went down. That game did not finish. They went 3-3 in division. They won their last 8 games. Very impressive team down the stretch after struggling early on in the season. Yeah, take it away.
Yeah, so they add 2 guys nobody knows, but they got Orlando Brown Jr. as the third guy, all-pro right tackle. They continue to try and protect Joe Burrow. And now that they have 4 really solid linemen, Joe Burrow's just going to hurt himself at practice. Key additions, Miles Murphy, DN, DJ Turner, corner, safety Jordan Battle, wide receiver Charlie Jones, and running back Chase Brown. Departures, Samaje Perine, Hayden Hurst, Eli Apple, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Trey Flowers. 3 safeties and a corner. Send it back over to you. What's your first initial thoughts?
My first initial thoughts is while the offensive line sounds like it's all right, it'll probably have some early season struggles. That's very common of an offensive line. They have done the Kansas City Chiefs route where, and I know you were big on this before the draft, they have spent all their cap space in basically protecting Joe Burrow. And they've drafted T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and it just makes me wonder if the cap will be there when these 3 need contracts here. But time will tell. As far as how this team's constructed, they've spent a ton of money on the offensive line, and they drafted well. This defense has taken punch after punch after punch. It has lost piece after piece. Their best defensive player right now is Trey Hendrickson, and honestly, I don't know who their second best player is.
Sam Hubbard, I would say, but
what do you have last year? 8 sacks, 7 sacks. I mean, I'm not dissing him. I'm just
6.5.
I was even shooting high.
Alex,
he's good. I'm not dissing. He's just not elite.
Right.
Yeah, I just think that this team has taken too many punches on the defense. They're going to have to battle. They're going to lose games because their offensive has an off night, and they scored 24 and they couldn't score 30, and they're going to lose 27-24. You know what I mean? I could see that a lot this year. Games they'll lose scoring 25 plus, but because their defense gave up what it was, there's always that stat with the Lions it was last year. If
third most touchdowns.
If the defense could have held every team to X amount, they'd have been this and this. The Bengals feel like that team. They just defensively, they have robbed Peter to pay Paul too many times. And Paul's really, really good and does his job, and he's exceptional. But sometimes Paul might call in sick or might be late for work, and unfortunately the rest of the store is just like, holy hell.
Gotta have Paul.
Gotta love Paul. Take it away.
Yeah, I just I've seen some good players in the past. You know, a calf is a scary thing, especially on the back leg of a quarterback. That scares
Yeah.
me. Joe Mixon, I think he's on the back half, and they got rid of Pirine. So the running game worries me. These three wide receivers are going to be these three wide receivers. I mean, Jamar Chase is him. T. Higgins is a dog, although I do feel like there's too many games he starts but doesn't finish due to injury. He gets nicked up and banged up, but he can explode certain weeks. And the O line is good, you know, with Orlando Brown. But I mean, even with great tackles, again, in this division, sometimes it doesn't even matter when you look at the Steelers' edge rushers and the Browns' edge rushers. Um, so I want to kind of I thought you'd be a little bit more heavy on them, but I kind of second everything you said. I mean, I just think this defense is so weak. And when you just want to win by just straight out outscoring people, heaven forbid you have a bad weather game or something, but like a
Something.
lot of the AFC
Something.
is built to score a bunch of points. Like the AFC is an arms race. They're all like I wonder how many games this team's gonna win. And I just think I don't know how the schedule's gonna shape up, but the more and more I look at it, you know, good friend of the podcast, Jeff Halbert, he has 32 cans from Bud Light, and each one of them a few years ago were like each one's a team. And he gave those to me. Shout out Jeff Halbert, thanks man. But I was bored in my garage, and I had them all separated by division, and I put the front two teams on who I think is going to win the division, and I said these are the 8 teams, 7 of them are going to make the playoffs. And I was just looking through them, and then it took me back. The Bengals weren't on the front of those cans. And I don't know, the schedule could show something different, but only 7 teams can make the playoffs. 4 teams are new every year, and every year there's kind of like a wow, that team didn't make it. I don't know if it's going to be the Bengals, but I do think there is. You know, they got this hype train with Joe Burrow. Everyone loves Joe Tutty. He's had a fantastic 3 or 4 year stretch from LSU and into the NFL. Why hasn't he got a contract extension yet? Why are they dropping backup quarterbacks? Why are they building a line? Like, why is Jamar Chase busy calling out Patrick Mahomes? Joe Burrow's got a weak calf right now. I'm not saying they're not paying Joe Burrow, guys. I know I led with that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of kind of just fuzz around this team. Like Joe Burrow with the calf and no contract extension yet. Joe Mixon, I'm not even sure what it is, but he does have something going on with the NFL league office on disciplinary things. Jamar Chase is out here calling up the Chiefs. I don't know if I love that. T. Higgins, injury up and down. I don't feel like they get much production out of the tight end since they've lost Ozamawa. And yeah, this defense has lost so much on the secondary. Even Trey Hendricks, who we say is their best player, he had 8 sacks last year. Their 2 edge rushers combined for 14 and a half. You know who had 14 and a half by themselves? Alex Highsmith.
Oh.
Alex Highsmith, our second best edge rusher, had 14 and a half himself. I just think that when you look at holes in a roster, the Bengals do have some of the strongest units, but they do have some of the biggest holes, and I wonder if they're going to be able to cover them up. I think this is a team that could take a step back. You said they're 12-4 last year. I know they didn't play a game and won games in the postseason. I think Joe Burrow is amazing in the postseason. But I mean, if you were to tell me they regress 2 to 3 games, is 9 or 10 wins enough to get you in the playoffs, especially in this division? I don't know. And they were 0-3 in the preseason, so you know that's a bad sign. No, I'm just kidding. But Trevor Siemian led their team 2 different games in the preseason in passing yards, and they released him.
So, before we get into the schedule, I'll just give a couple of scheduling things here. They're going to play 5 elite quarterbacks. Lamar twice. I have him as an elite quarterback. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree.
Okay. They're going to play 5 elite quarterbacks then. Okay. They also have to play the Rams week 3, where you would anticipate both Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford being fully healthy in week 3.
When you say 5, are you counting Lamar as like 2 or just one of those 5?
No, he's 2.
Okay.
I
would
have
count
Lamar.
He's going to be there.
Get out of here.
He's gonna be there.
He has Lamar, Josh Allen, Lamar, Trevor Lawrence, and Patrick Mahomes. He also has to play Cousins. Obviously, his divisional games, which are always tough. Let's just get into the schedule. This is tough. This is a tough schedule.
Yeah, worth mentioning.
Every team has a freaking tough schedule.
Yeah.
Every team.
Yeah, like you
Every
said,
single team.
the ones not in the elite. You got Kurt. You got division matchups. 49ers. Yeah. I think Geno is worth mentioning. But here we go. They start, like we said, Ohio matchup at Cleveland, Ohio versus Ohio, week 1. And I gave that to Cleveland. I'm sticking with it.
I did as well, and I'm sticking with it.
They then come home and play the Baltimore Ravens. I do have them starting 0-2.
I had them beating the Ravens week 2. I'm going to stick with that.
Week 3, Monday night, they host the Rams. Again, we said Stafford and Kupp coming into town.
Hosting the Rams is actually huge here. This is going to be a tough defensive day, but I think that they will be able to do what they want against the Rams defense too. That defense isn't good. Yeah. Give me the Bengals at home.
I think they win here as well. If I go back real quick, I wanna. Okay, sorry. All right. They then at the Tennessee Titans.
In a weird upset, the Titans feel like the play here.
Titans. I had no idea you were going to pull that. The Titans have the best defense in which you don't know anybody's name.
Yeah.
They have Derrick Henry. They have Derrick Henry, and they have DeAndre Hopkins, a serviceable quarterback in Tannehill. They're always coached well. Road spot. Gosh, I can't believe we agreed on that. I think they lose. Back-to-back road spot. They go down to Arizona, where we just hand out free wins when you play Arizona. You just get a dub.
If I'm looking at your schedule and there's a red Cardinal, you have a W.
Yeah. You're not going to lose every game you play, guaranteed.
Yeah.
They then come back home and play Seattle. They lose.
I will have my do-over next week with Seattle. This is a loss.
Yeah, two very good corners, safeties. Bobby Wagner's back, and this offense can go. I think they have a better roster than the Bengals. I think they have a better roster than the Bengals from top to bottom.
I agree. I'm trying to.
And how close is the whole wide receiver room? JSN, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. It's not that
I don't want to over exaggerate. I'm trying to think logically. I think the Seahawks
could win the division.
Have the best roster that I'm not positive on the quarterback, but they have a top 7 to 8 roster in the league. They have the best roster, though, that if I could pick a quarterback, they'd win the Super Bowl today. Promise you that.
I think it's very comparable with the Seahawks in the NFC to the Steelers in the AFC. Uncertainty at quarterback with a top roster. Is that fair to say?
No.
Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin.
They're not the same. They're not the same.
Yeah, Steelers are better. You're right.
Dude, the Seahawks are a better roster than the Steelers.
No, shut up. All right, we'll make a poll after the pod. We'll make a poll after the pod.
Real quick, who's your best receiver?
George Pickens.
Okay, DK's better.
No.
Yes, he is.
I disagree. You can have DK Saturday. I'm telling you that right now. Take him.
Bro, they have 2 better running backs than yours at this point, I think. At least one. At least one. I think their rookie's going to be better than your running back. Okay?
Bye week 7, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Dude, they don't play each other, do they?
I'm so glad that the Steelers and Seahawks play this year. I can't wait.
They do?
Yeah, they do.
Let's go.
Week 17, December 31st.
Oh,
we're going to go to Seattle and beat their ass.
Who did I give the win to? I gave Seattle the win there.
Where did I give the win? Fucking loser. All right, they come out of the bye week, and they're at the San Francisco 49ers.
They're going to need that bye week, but
Yeah, they're 2-5.
They're 3-4, and they're having team meetings. They're having player-only meetings here.
They do get to regroup, get an easy win Sunday. Oh, they host the Buffalo Bills.
They're beating the Bills. Bills have similar issues to them. They're beating the Bills. 4-4.
All right. I got to stop here. I'm getting upset. I got to do something here. I mean, Bengals can't be 2-6. Like, I know they're going to regress, but they can't be 2-6.
No, they're not 2-6. You're being too hard.
I'm gonna go back and give them that win against the Titans. They're 3-5. Okay. Then they go Sunday. They back-to-back home game. They play the Houston Texans.
Yeah, after they had that player-only meeting after losing to San Fran, they beat Buffalo. They're beating Houston.
Week 11, they're at the Baltimore Ravens.
I had them sweeping Baltimore. They're beating Baltimore.
I had them losing to the Ravens at home. Short week. Who did Baltimore play week 10? Oh, Cleveland. Yeah, I gave Cincinnati that win because, yeah, Cincinnati's going to win that one. Then Sunday, November 26th, they host the Steelers.
I have them sweeping the Steelers. They're taking another win.
I did regress the Steelers wins back to 12. I'll give Cincy this win here at home. Monday night, they go to the Jacksonville Jaguars in a 35-42 game where the Jaguars win.
I have them beating the Jaguars.
So where do you have them through 12 games?
I currently have them at 8-4. They're back to being a good team again, but they've rolled off like 4 straight here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight.
I have them at 6-6. Their next 2 games are home games against the Colts and Vikings, or I have them winning both.
They're beating the Colts. They're losing to the Vikings.
Okay. Then Saturday, December 23rd at Pittsburgh.
After losing to the Vikings, I had them beating Pittsburgh. I had them sweeping Pittsburgh. I'm sticking with that.
Sunday, December 31st, back-to-back road spot from Pittsburgh to Kansas City.
And they close out their season winning both 12-5.
I have them losing to Kansas City, but beating the Browns at home.
And 5-1 in division.
You have them 12-5, you said?
Yeah. So technically regressing, I guess.
What's their over-under?
11.5.
Yes.
It had to be more than the Ravens. Yeah, I could definitely see them as an under, but not much under. Their offense is so good. And as long as Burrow gets back to being decently healthy.
Oh, man. It is what it is, man. That's my hottest take here in division. I got the Steelers at 12-5, and golly, I even went back and gave the Bengals an extra win. I got them at 8-9. That's crazy.
Before I forget, because we did this last week and I forgot, and I don't want to do this again. Here we go. Mailbag or polls first? Which one do you hit?
We'll do the poll. How many votes total?
20 votes. So not the most, not the lowest.
Okay.
Who got the lowest amount?
So I think there's a lot of Steelers and Browns fans, so they'll get homer votes. Bengals, most people think are the best teams. I think Ravens probably got the least amount of votes.
The Browns got the least amount of votes. How many votes do you think they got?
Out of 23.
They got 3.
Hey.
2 of them for sure are Browns fans. I don't know about the third one. Sean Robinson. Do you know who that is?
Who is it?
Sean Robinson.
I don't think I know who that is. I'd have to see a picture or something.
Sean, thanks for voting. Thanks for
Shout
being
out,
part of the
Sean.
page. We just don't know you. So they got the lowest amount. I'm sorry, tied lowest amount.
Ravens.
Steelers.
Okay.
3 votes. Two of them I know are Steeler fans. Garth Wilson's a Steeler fan, right? Sam Meek.
Cowboys.
Okay, so two Steeler fans and a Cowboy fan voting for them. Shout out Dave Hazelton. I know he listens every week. He's a Steeler fan. He voted for them as well. He also wrote two questions. We'll get to those in a second. Okay, who do you think wins between the Ravens and the Bengals?
Bengals.
Especially because you said Ravens would be worst. The Ravens got 4 votes, though.
Oh, so I mean, it was pretty close, all three of those teams.
None of them are Ravens fans either.
10 for the Bengals, though?
We have a Broncos. We have a Broncos fan. I don't know what Jordan McGuire, who he roots for.
He doesn't really have an NFL team.
Oh, okay, just Notre Dame.
Yep.
And then we have a Bucks fan and a 49ers fan. So really just people that watch football and think the Ravens are going to be pretty solid, which I agree. We both agree.
I have it 10-7.
Yeah. And then you got 10 votes. Half the votes actually came for the Bengals.
That's crazy. I have them in last place.
Wait, what?
In a vacuum, I would not have them last place. But I got the Browns to 9 wins and the Bengals to 8.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It might not.
Fix it.
Oh, dude, you're right. Oh, you're right. I have it.
Oh, goodness.
Well,
but
let's do it this way. You had the Bengals sweeping the Steelers. I think the Steelers get one. You had them beating the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs get one. I had them losing at Jacksonville. You had them winning that one. You have them beating the Bills, and I like the Bills to beat them. So right there's our discrepancy. All pretty good teams there that we kind of have flip-flopped a little bit in the air. We know they're beating the Cardinals. And the Colts. And the Colts.
This is, first off, I'm going to read this question. This is a very hard task. Very hard. So you'd have to be so dead set for you to answer. This is from, both questions are from Dave Hazelton. He's a Steeler fan. Okay.
Gotcha.
First question doesn't exactly say it. The second one does. Will all 4 teams make the playoffs?
And is it possible?
No.
We'll get do all 4 teams make the playoffs? No.
Yeah. It's, to be fair, it's damn near impossible. It is possible because there are.
If everyone goes 3-3 in division and wins all of their other games, the entire division could be 14-3.
Correct. So basically, there are 3 open spots plus a division winner. So technically, it is possible. It is highly unlikely. It's definitely on the table that 3 make the playoffs.
100%.
That's totally on the table. The only reason it's not, if you were to say why wouldn't that be the case, because the AFC East also has multiple teams that are very good as well. And then the AFC South, I think we're pretty much locked into one. In the AFC West, we're pretty much locked into
Chiefs,
1, maybe 2.
Yeah, Broncos.
Chiefs, Chargers.
Well, let me actually, if I can get to it. Yeah, so I have the Bengals at 8-9. You have the Chiefs at 9-8. Those are our 2 teams that we kind of have that are top teams regressing a little bit. I just went back to your prediction there. So it's like yours is the Chiefs. So I'm like, I got the Chiefs at 11-6. You need to pump that up.
I had them at 10.
Huh? Oh, you changed it for one?
If you remember, I had them like winning only 7 games, but I said there's no way they went when there. I said they're winning at least 10 games.
Oh, well, I think when we did it, you had them at 7, and you're like, no, move them up 2 wins to over 5.
I was like, they have to get 10 wins, is what basically I said. If Patrick Mahomes plays, they're getting 10. I don't know where they're coming.
Well,
because honestly, I don't love their roster.
I'll get it back to you, and in the banger preseason finale, we'll get it all hammered.
We'll hit it. Last question, and I think you've kind of answered this, but feel free to answer it again and kind of give some bullet points. You have this. Did you have the Steelers win the division or no?
I did.
So the question from Dave Hazelton, again, a Steeler fan. Why are the Steelers winning the AFC North? Go ahead and take it away.
Steelers are winning the AFC North because not just in the AFC North, not just in the AFC, the entire NFL, they will have the best defense, the number 1 ranked defense. We have a top 5 head coach. We'll have a top half of the league O-line. Our offense will be explosive. Kenny Pickett takes the leap. What he does in the postseason, I'm eager to find out. But this team improves at every level and simply has no holes where you can directly attack the team, which I can't say that for the other 3 teams in division.
I'll give a small answer. I don't think they're winning, but I like to play hypotheticals. So you're telling me Steelers win. Here's why. A, they're well coached. Arguably the best coach in the division, if not top 2. Okay. Kenny Pickett plays like he's a veteran quarterback and not a second-year player. George Pickens pops. They have a top-tier defense, which I believe they will. I'm not even being hypothetical there. I think they're going to have a great defense. And unfortunately, I have to give some caveats. Lamar gets hurt and Joe Burrow gets hurt. And they don't play.
Maybe not Lamar, but I could see saying Joe.
Like basically one, or if not both quarterbacks have caveat seasons where they don't play the full season. I don't think there is a scenario this season in which the Steelers win the division when Burrow and Lamar play the full season. I think those are the top 2 teams.
I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Does your opinion change if the Steelers score more than 24 points and beat the 49ers week 1 and then beat the Browns Monday night week 2 on national television? Does that change how you view how their schedule can lay out? Or if they go out week 1 and lose to the 49ers, you're going to feel like this is exactly what I was saying. These are their limitations. Does that week 1 game against the 49ers hold a huge change in how you will feel about the Steelers going forward?
Basically 0.
0?
I don't think there's a way for me to change my opinion on any one team after the first 2 weeks. I'm only at least a month. And
it's Thanksgiving. I know
it's totally on the table. And Hazelton has not shut up about the Steelers in the Niner game. He's very confident the Steelers are beating them. It's totally on the table that you guys beat the Niners.
Right.
First off, they haven't had their starting quarterback the entire offseason. He threw like 7 passes in the last preseason game. He didn't play in any of the training camp, nothing. It's like it's totally on the table this team would be misjumbled. They also I think they kind of lack an early season identity because you would imagine that looks like McCaffrey, but they still try to run the ball. Debo hasn't really been himself since McCaffrey got there. They did lose some pieces defensively. They gained some things. There's a lot of off-season storylines in the locker room. I think they lost to the Bears week 1 last year. I know it was a monsoon, but they lost. It's on the table. You guys could beat them. It would not shock me if Steelers won 40-10. That would be shocking. Steelers win 31-27. That's not shocking. 24-20. That's not shocking. It's the NFL. This is week 1, man. And Mike Tomlin's as good a coach as any. So, I mean, it's not like it's a coaching mismatch with Kyle Shanahan. But I do favor an offensive mind in a week 1 matchup versus Mike Tomlin. I will say that. Second thing, as far as beating who's week 2? The Browns?
Yeah.
I think I have them beating the Browns. So
yeah, I just know a lot of people like the Browns a little bit. I was just wondering.
I don't love them.
I know. That's just why I understand your answer. I just figured I'd ask the question.
I have you exactly where I have the Patriots, 10-7. I think I have the Patriots 11-6, but I think we're very similar teams. Quarterback has question marks, enough weapons to win, good running games. I think your running game is going to improve. And great defense and great coach. This is where we're at. We play in tough divisions.
I did hear one thing on a podcast just briefly, and I thought it was funny, and I kind of agree. If someone said you did not know what the sport is going to be, you have to get a head coach. You got to have a head coach. I think Mike Tomlin's like maybe even number 1 on the list. Just a rah-rah motivator. Just like I just think that's pretty funny. Like you don't know what the sport's going to be. Take a head coach with you. Like Mike Tomlin's that guy. Like I kind of like thinking of it that way.
I definitely see what you mean there. I like Bill in that situation. I think if literally it was 10 randomized sports, I think Bill's going to be great at coaching 8 of them. I just think that's how it would go down, obviously. But yeah, I think our teams are incredibly close. And I think we're going to be fighting for a playoff spot, and that's why that game in December is going to be massive.
I feel bad doing it to you week 14, too. It's like...
Don't feel bad because we're going to whoop that ass. Don't feel bad at all.
Goodness.
So, yeah.
All right, I got to do it. Head coach, quarterback.
Let me write it out quick. So,
I'm going to give you my list as I write it. I'm going to go from worst to first. I have Kevin Stefanski and Watson as last. I'm going to jump to the top and go Jim Harbaugh and Lamar at number 1. I think it's a proven coach. Huh?
John Harbaugh.
Oh, shit.
You're good.
John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. I think Kenny takes a leap to potential top 10 quarterback, and Mike Tomlin is 3 times the coach Zach Taylor is. So I'm going with Mike Tomlin and Kenny. And although Burrow is doing his best to backpack this ranking, he's coming in third and potentially the best division in football.
So I have quarterback 1 to 4. Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Pittsburgh.
Disgusting.
I have more faith in Deshaun Watson than you do. I've seen it from Deshaun. I've never seen it from Kenny. Time will tell.
Right.
This is preseason. Coach, Ravens. Sorry. Pittsburgh, Bengals, Browns. Okay. John Harbaugh makes the playoffs way more than Mike Tomlin does. He doesn't just go 500. That's not a shot at you. I'm just calling the facts here.
Sure.
So the average scores of these: Ravens 1.5, which puts them in first place. Bengals average of 2 puts them at second place. Pittsburgh average of 3 puts them at third place. Browns 3.5 puts them at fourth place.
Yeah, so we swap Steelers and Bengals. And by the way, our little talk about which division would have the most wins. Right now, you have the AFC East at 41 and the AFC North at 39. And I have both divisions at 39.
Yeah, I'm a little slow. I'm a little lower on the Browns. I think if I had the Browns with 2 more wins, obviously I'm right there. I just think the Browns are not quite there.
Well, that's the AFC North.
Take this with a grain of salt. If I was ranking the AFC East and the AFC North as far as my bets to make and win the Super Bowl, the first 2 would come out of the North,
Bengals,
not the East. I would put them over probably Buffalo.
Yeah, I think you'd go 2-4-2. You'd probably go Bengals, Ravens, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots in any order, and then put the Steelers and Browns below them. I feel like that's how you would do it. Because if you're saying the Steelers is the third best chance and the Patriots is potentially the worst,
you guys are over the Jets. You guys over the Jets.
Oh, yeah, that was another thing. Like in terms of just teams that we differ on, you had the Jets at 8-9, I think. I have the Bengals at 8-9. A lot of people would say Bengals and Jets are both going to win 11 games. So it's like,
yeah,
it's the NFL, man. The AFC is that crazy. Someone's got to be bad. And if most of you are saying, Brad, Jeff, it's going to be the Jets and Bengals over the Steelers and Patriots. Well, go listen to a podcast that's wrong, okay? I don't know what to tell you. Go listen to something else because the Patriots and Steelers are much better than you guys want them to be, and that's just because we're fans of 2 teams with 12 rings. That's just the only thing that's different.
Listen, unless you and a buddy, your favorite teams have more than 12 rings, you can't be 2 guys with 12 rings. You just can't.
I don't think there's any combination.
No, there's literally no other combination than
unless
us 2
you
guys
use a
with 12
team
rings.
and just Tom Brady. There is no combination. There's no combination to get higher.
Yes. Gosh, the fact that Tom Brady somehow made this pod, I'm here for it. So, with that being said, anything else first off?
Yeah. Next week, guys, if you made it this far, we can't wait to put Facebook posts out about hyping it up. But in our final preseason podcast, we will get all win combinations to 272 to make it a perfect prediction. We'll be adding and subtracting wins. We'll be giving out 1 efficient, 1 high chance, and 1 long shot bet for all 32 teams. We will be giving out 10 different awards that we have predicted and we are going to give you your end-all, be-all projections of what you can expect from our pod and our views going into the season. And we plant our flags on our teams and our players on what we think will happen. So next week is just a massive fun podcast. Last one, and we have NFL football in 9 days, single digits from today, 8 from today. Excuse me, Thursday. It's so exciting.
I'm going to leave you with this. We have news coming. We have news coming. We think it's great news. We're very excited about this. Okay. We hope to have it for you next week. No promises. We hope to have it for you next week. But there is news coming.
As another famous podcast says, we're up to something season.
We're up to something. There is something we are up to. Okay. We'll also give you, we've already gave it to you, but we're going to give it again. Our Thursday night matchup preview, Chiefs and Lions for NFL kickoff next week. And we hope that this podcast maybe even looks a little different next week. That we'll see. We don't know for sure. Take that as a little grain of salt. That's all I got. Anything else, Brad?
Nope.
Just a couple of guys, 2 guys in 12 rings, but we're out. Real talk.
Yep.